Welcome to another video, ladies and gentlemen. So I was watching a podcast a couple of days ago, and the topic was the degeneracy of modern music. How, it has come so far, and, the quality of music is not as it used to be, and of course, the artists themselves are not what they used to be. Now, if you know anything about hip hop specifically, it has changed considerably over the years, right? You used to have, your conscious artists, there was the gangster rap, there were sort of local legends that then became commercialized. So it's been a transition, essentially. But if you've been around long enough, you probably remember the 90s, right? Where C. Dolores Tucker, Cynthia Dolores Tucker, really went after the gangster rappers and the rap industry in general to try to hold them accountable. Now, I would say that a lot of the talking points that I heard from the podcaster were accurate, right? The sexy reds and what's the one with the Cardi B's and Meg Thee Stallion, right? There's a lot of Tatianas, essentially, in the music industry. And on the guy's side, it's just as bad, right? Ever since you would think Chief Keef and the pistols and the videos and all of that, but it started way before that, right? Which is why I kind of bring up the '90s and see Dolores Tucker. Let me show you a picture of it just to jog your memory. So the woman on screen, this is who I was just mentioning, right? And back in the 90s, right, she was in like her late 60s. As you can see, she was born in 27. So in the 90s, right, early 90s, when Tupac and the like were out, he actually mentioned her, in some of his lyrics. And essentially what he was saying was like, you're too old to understand the way the game goes, right? But I think these people had a vision of what was happening with the music and the culture mesh, and I think they saw that it was going in a direction that they did not like, which is why they spoke up. Now, it's easy to blame the record executives, right? It's you can quickly blame it on them and then not take any accountability, which is fair, right? The people who allow the music to go out should take some of the blame. I'm pretty sure you'll recognize some of the faces on here, right? Like Leah Cohen, who's at the lower right, um, as well as the guy right next to him with the glasses on, the one that was referred to as Drake's baby daddy, as well as, Clive over there in the other corner on the left. Right? So, yes, they do deserve some of the blame because they're allowing these artists to make these songs, record videos, and then put this music out, basically pump it out to the public. Right? So, yes, they do deserve some of the blame. However, I wouldn't be so quick to put all of it on them, right? Because I don't care how much marketing and stuff you do to try to make people to get to accept it. That does not necessarily mean this is all you allow yourself to consume. I think that is a big part of the problem that was not touched on. Let me explain. You see, when I was a kid growing up, my parents didn't even let me listen to hip hop, I'll be honest. Right? They were concerned about the message, and obviously they'd probably heard some of the lyrics. I don't know if they probably just didn't understand what was being said, but it was clear that it did not meet their approval, right? So I basically listened to it on my own when I had time if they weren't around. But what I did hear in my household when I was growing up was ABBA, The Carpenters, Queen, James Brown, Jimi Hendrix, Aretha Franklin, John Denver, even the Doors, the Bee Gees, right? All these groups and different artists, I heard them while I was growing up. Parents even had Bob Marley, Bob Dylan, right? There's classical music, Negro spirituals, all this. So I had a plethora of music that I could consume from a very early age. I mean, as young as I can remember, right? My dad had this crazy record collection. And we talking about back then. So we're not talking about tapes, 8 tracks, and all that. We're talking about 45s, right? On the turntable. So he was an actual collector, and I had so much to choose from. And I think that is the crux of the problem. Because today I see parents in their car driving with kids, even in car seats, really young kids, and they're passing, and it's strictly maybe Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, or it's some type of Spanish music, or it's never anything other than that specific genre. This is all you hear them listening to. And I've worked with people that are like that. Like, let's say they're Hispanic. All they listen to is Spanish music. They don't listen to hip hop. They don't listen to classical. They don't listen to pop. Nothing else. Just that. The opposite is true. I've worked with blacks, African Americans. All they listen to is rap. Like, no, you have to have variety. And I think that is what is missing today. Anywhere from Gen X through Gen Z, right? Millennials, obviously you're in between there. If you weren't raised with that list that I just gave you, and that's just being conservative, there's so much more that I heard as Dolly Parton, Johnny Cash. If I have to actually make a list, this video will be way longer. If I have to go back and think of how many artists I was exposed to from a child, right? Because you have to admit, back then everybody had like hits, right? Queen had We Are the Champions, The Carpenters, It's Only Just Begun. Good music. ABBA, The Winner Takes It All, James Brown, Some Man's World. Everybody knows these songs, right? These are very popular songs, very popular artists, very popular groups. But for some reason, nobody listens to them. I have not passed by someone's vehicle and heard classical music or anything from, let's say, the 60s, the 70s, even the 80s. Not even Michael Jackson. People don't even play Mike no more. Beat It, Dirty Diana, Bad, Thriller. All people listen to is the heavy pop music from the women's side, and the other side, that bang bang shoot 'em up shit from the guy's side. Like, where's the middle? Back in the days we used to have, pop, and you had R&B, you had Casey and JoJo, or Jodeci, Jagged Edge, right? Had so many. What's those girls' names? The ones that sang "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls." T-Bars, Left Eye, and I'm Chilly. We had different groups that had variety, even in the music they delivered. And I mean, even to a certain extent, Tupac had Dear Mama, right? But a lot of the stuff that he promoted, even his image, was all this thug life. You need to have a variety in music, right? You ever heard of musical therapy? They do it especially for autistic kids and even patients that have some sort of mental illness, right? There are mental health professionals that do it sometimes. But you have to realize, in your everyday life, if you're a person that loves music like I do, you practice musical therapy every day. Whatever it is that you wake up to, or after you wake up, you do what you gotta do, and then you pick up your phone or whatever, and you start playing music, This is what sets the tone for your day. There's some jobs that allow you to play music, so yes, people play music at work, and that's your musical therapy. But like I said, just from observing what people play when they're outside, it's like West Indian, all you play is reggae. Like there's no going outside of the genre that you know, and I don't. It doesn't make you a well-rounded person because as an individual, you should be able to go ballroom dancing, you should be able to go to a hip hop club, a jazz club, right? R&B, whatever it is. You should have a wide palette for music. And I think it makes you a well-rounded individual if you do. If you don't, then this is what you end up with. Like how much of this have we seen over the years? Right? How many young black guys, young black boys, teenagers, early 20s maybe, have lost their lives to violence, right? After we've seen all the guns in the videos. Pop Smoke, King Von, Mo 3, so many others, right? FBG Duck. I mean, drill music really took it to a different level. And still people are not noticing, okay, yeah, it's some of it is the music, but is that all you're listening to? Because if you're consuming this, as a guy, then what else do you know? Right? So if this is all you're consuming, then what else do you know? I mean, on the women's side, we have the like of Sexy Red, Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Ice Spice. I mean, all of it is basically just sex sells. That's it. There's no, big message behind it. That's it. And you see it in a lot of the street interviews just with, random people on the street. All right. You ask them questions about basic stuff like geography or state capitals and, regular stuff. Who's the president before Obama or something like that? Who, name two presidents from the 80s. Basic stuff, right? That they probably should know. And they'll try and they'll fail. And then you ask them about, who's the artist that sang whatever song. They'll be like, yeah, yeah, I know it. And they'll get it right. Right? So it's obvious there's a correlation in between what they're being exposed to the most and the stuff that they're not being exposed to. I mean, even Beyonce. Remember back in the day, Beyonce had that song, All the Single Ladies. You're not single. You've been with Jay-Z for how long? Still with him. But you making a song calling for single ladies. Why? Right? Megan, who is it? Megan Cardio or what? What? One of these duos had a song called Anaconda. Right? So yes, there is absolutely a level of degeneracy in the music, but the blame cannot be solely placed on the artist because best believe if you put out that hot steaming pile of trash and nobody listens to it, guess what? You're gonna have to come up with something else. Right? If all you can talk about is Molly and Percocets and all this drugs and you know what I mean, a la Future, you know what I mean? People just should stop buying it. And as a parent, you shouldn't let your child consume it either. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even Future, man, he already has the look. Future should drop like a rock and roll single. You know what I mean? Just talking about life as it has progressed, but with a rock beat. Right? Don't he call himself Future Hendrix? Like, do something different. Right? Go out on a limb. Right? If you're truly musically talented, you should be able to cross genres. That's as far as I'm concerned. If you have a large background of music, you grew up in music, um, you should be able to. Right? And it doesn't matter what people say that people talk about in these songs, whether it's love songs, life songs, just the past 4 years, right? if you were around for the past 4 years, especially here in America, all the hardships that people went through, there's a lot of music in that right there. All right, a lot of it. Just seeing what's going on at the border, see what happened with gas prices, food prices. You know, people, family members dropping. All right, how you felt about it. There's so much that you could do if you're truly musically inclined. I'm just saying, there is. But again, I think the purpose of this video is more to draw on the fact that yes, you could blame, the Leo Cohens or the Lil Yachty's and the Drakes and whoever else, right? When they put out some trash, fine. Put up some gangster stuff, fine. You could blame them, both the execs and the artists. But you, the consumer, do you have to stream it? Do you have to buy those streams? Do you have to listen to it? You don't. You really don't. And unless you start your kids from an early age being able to incorporate different forms of music, because best believe most of the artists out today, they don't even play instruments. They don't. Very few actually play their own instruments. Alright, so if you could even get your kids into piano classes, guitar classes, get them to actually appreciate music from its base form, I think we'd be better off for it. And this is why people have so many complaints about, Gen Z and millennials. Just the way that they talk, they really have no conversation. They don't seem to be that well educated or stable, so to speak. And obviously that's not everybody's child, but by and large, it's, we're in a bad state. And I think obviously we can do much better. And that's my hope. That is my genuine hope, that you can, do something therapeutic for yourself by just playing different forms of music. If you just do like a little experiment on yourself, just play different forms of music and see how you respond to it. You can actually do that. Play some classical music, play some Tchaikovsky, some Bach, Beethoven, Chopin, Handel, whatever, right? Pick something that's popular, listen to it, and see, how it resonates with you. Because music, it puts you at a certain vibration when you listen to it, right? And when you're at a certain vibration, you're at a certain frequency. I'm telling you, there's music that could put you at such a frequency and vibration that people can't or wouldn't be able to annoy you, even though they're being actually annoying and trying to irritate you. But you are listening to something that is just giving you that even flow. Right? You can't even be bothered by what they do. You're just in your own zone. That's the power of music. Right? So hopefully you can experience that. I hope I didn't ramble on this video, make it too long. I'm almost at 19 minutes. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Share it with someone. I hope you share the video, like the video, obviously. Subscribe to the channel. And I keep on putting my Cash App in the description. Sometimes I forget to say it. Well, most times I forget to say it. But yeah, I'm trying to raise money to put out a book that I just recently finished. So I'd appreciate donations. Any size, $1 up, whatever you can do. If you can't, hey, share the music, subscribe, like the video. And I'll see you next time. Peace. Oh, and you see I wore my Nirvana t-shirt. You know what I mean? Good music.